Hi there, Dave here. I'm out my boat today, but even though it's a boat, I'm going to talk about setting up the Kmart fishing rod, which is what I suggest, 3 to 7 kilo estuary, 7 foot, 2-piece rod. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to demonstrate just literally feeding the line, tying on a hook and sinker, casting technique, bit of a retrieve for beginners. So this is a beginner's thing. So yeah, let's get started. So 2-piece rod, pulls apart, which is good. It'll fit nicely in the boot of a car. Wiggle the 2 pieces together. This here is your reel and your bailing arm. Undo the bailing arm. Now, you probably can't see on this side, but the line's just tucked in there. So, untuck the line, make sure the bailing arm is open. This is literally from scratch for beginners. We'll feed the line through the rings. And what's happened here? And it's already tangled. Okay, here we go. So you feed the line through each of the rings from the bottom through to the top. This is a bit hard to do because the boat's rocking, but from shore it would be easier. I'm only doing this out on the boat today because I'm just had 2 guys just scuba diving around at the moment, so I'm taking advantage of having the time to set up. Right. Line is fed through all rings. Close the metal round bailing arm. Your line's tight. Next, we're going to get set up. Okay, now everyone does their fishing setups differently for bait casting. Normally, obviously, I will look at the area, whether if it's from shore, I'll work out how far I have to cast and select a suitable sinker size, or if it's even from a boat, depending on depth, current, select a suitable sinker size. Now we'll go with that, which is, I think, like larger than a pea, number 4 or 5, I think. So this is what I'm going to do. Feed the line through the sinker hole. So the sinker is now, the sinker is now running on the line. Is now on the line. We can't see too well. Next thing I do, I'm going to tie a swivel to this. Why a swivel? Because it allows the other piece of line not to twist too much. This is a Kmart brand pack for like ribbon flatheads. So you've got various hooks, sinkers, swivels. So, as I said, the swivel's handy. So we'll tie a swivel on. Now, I'll probably have to do this on the GoPro because I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. So I feed the line through. Everyone's different with their knots. This is what I do. Loop it through. I hold my finger there. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 through, feed that line through that loop, pull it tight. Now I get my hand, I gently just pull against it just to make sure that knot is tight. That's good. You have to pull it till it snaps, just make sure it's firm. Pair of pliers or cutters, cut the tag off. Next thing, now with fishing, this has got 10-pound main mono line on it. I use a leader. Why do I use a leader? First, because the fish obviously it controls the bait better. Also because the fish like to chew through it. So normally, and again, everyone's different, on a leader, I go 10 pounds, normally 10 pound heavier than the main line. So, spool of 20-pound line, also from Kmart. Same thing again. All right, same thing, same loop again. Hopefully you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, say 6. Whatever's good for you. Feed the loop through, pull it tight, and just carefully work with your hand. Give it a bit of a nudge. That feels nice and snug. Good. Again, get your leader. Doesn't have to be exact length, but you know, it's just approximately. Same thing again with a knot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Feed it through the loop. Come on. Pull it tight. Now with a hook, get a pair of pliers. Hold the hook with the pliers. Too many times I have hold the hook to tension the line and ended up with a hook in my hand. Hold the pliers. Okay, give it a firm touch. There we go. That's nice and tight. And cut. There we go. Now, swivel to the leader. So normally I make the leader about 50 centimeters long or so. Obviously I cut more than that. And for this size, I'm going to demonstrate just a 2/0 hook, 2/0 long shank. Cut the end off, and there you go. You have basically got a setup. We've fed the line through the rod. It's tangled, doesn't matter. We've got the sinker, we've got the swivel, and we've got the hook. Now, what I'll demonstrate next shortly is basically casting, but because I've got guys diving, I'm going to cut the hook off. So give me just a moment, but it's the same technique. I forgot to mention, and I'll show this on the GoPro, bait. Nice piece of squid. Now, to put a bait on a hook, fairly simple. You don't need a huge bait sometimes, sometimes you need a small bait. That's how it is. Again, be a little careful when you're putting bait on a hook so you don't stab yourself. Obviously, literally, feed it through the hook so it's sitting and the hook's dangling. That's how you put a piece of bait on. And then of course you would cast it out. As I said, casting I'll show you in a minute, but I'm going to do it. Oops. Casting I'll show you in a minute, but I'm going to do it unhooked because, as I said, I've got guys diving today. Alright, casting a line. Now, yes, I know there's no hook and bait on it, but it's not on there for a reason, because as I said, I'm unable to demonstrate that today, and this is tangled again. Casting the line. Wind the sinker, and you set up. So you've probably got, I don't know, once again, casting is going to be different from person to person. I go, say, 50 centimeters to allow the line to fling as you cast it. Now to cast, get your right or left-handed. I'm right-handed. I get my right hand, I grab the line, I hold it against the rod. That's not going to, and what I do is I open the bailing arm. Now, if you're dropping from a boat, you'll literally just go, and it drops in the water. And then of course, once you're finished, you wind it up. Casting. Once again, hold it with a couple of fingers. I use my thumb there, whatever finger that is. Hold the line, open the bailing arm. Now, as I'm flinging it, I try and let go of the line with my right hand, somewhere at about, say, I don't know, 45-degree angle. So say I'm 45 here, 90, 45, if that's right. So as I'm casting, I let go of it. So, and obviously how far you want to cast is how far you actually have to fling it, or not. Wait for the waves to settle for a minute before I try and cast a line. All right, right hand, bailing arm open, fling, let it fly. Once it hits the water, close the bailing arm and let it sink. Now I'm just winding it back in because I said I don't want to bother the people down there. So winding it is just literally just wind, using the bailing arm's closed, you're winding it in. So again, casting, so it's light setup, heavy setup. I'm right-handed, I use my right hand and my thumb there to hold it, hold the line, open the bailing arm. Here, I'll cast this way. I'll cast that way, flies out to a spot, boom, hits the water. I don't know if we can see that over there. Wind it in. Now there's something else to consider. Setting drag on a reel. Now this here, that's tight. Why do you set drag? Because sometimes you've got to let the fish run for it. Now I can't demonstrate that today, but it has seen on some other videos. So I loosen it up a bit. Let's see it on. And yes, it actually was on. So set the drag, I loosen it up, and I pull it enough. Now, how much drag you want is up to you. I don't want the fish to run too far, but I don't want the fish to make it too easy. So I put a reasonable firmness on the drag. That way it allows, if the fish goes bzzz, you'll hear that bzzz sound. That means the fish is on the run. I find it's important to set drag for the reason, literally. When it goes over, when the rod bends over, and it'll bend over like that, drag starts screaming a bit or moving a bit. That will also indicate that you've got a fish on, as opposed to just the rod bending over. You know, obviously the rod bends over and it's like that. It's like some guys over there might have got a fish, or have caught one of the divers. So that's essentially it. Yeah. How about I check my notes? $50 is nice. So, I've shown the rod, how to do a setup, how to do knots, how to cast, retrieve, put bait on, set drag. Sinker size will vary for casting depending how far you want to cast from shore. You might need a small sinker if it's only a short area. You might need a big sinker if you want to cast a long distance. As I said, I find a number 4 general purpose size good for casting for short and long distances. Bait. And yeah, that's really how to set up a rod and reel, and then cast it out, sit back, you know, put it in your, either sit with it on the shoreline, or you put it in a rod holder, and off you go, you're fishing. With fishing, you need to consider a few things. The time that you're fishing. Now, I can only get out when I can get out. So, if it's during the day, it's during the day, it doesn't matter. Chuck a line in anyway. Best time might be in the morning, best time might be in the afternoon or evening. Some people fish at night. Look at I'll link also below a couple of, that's what that noise was. I'll link below a couple of links. Check the tides, because if you're fishing from shore, you'll know if it's a high tide or a low tide. If it's depending on where you are, you might turn up one day and go, oh yeah, there's plenty of room to cast. You turn up, it's low tide, there's no water. Check the tides, where you're going. Some areas require higher tide, especially if it's like a side of a bay, and you can drop a line in and get yourself some big brim and floaties. Moon cycles. This is a new moon weekend, so there's a lot of current flow. The fishing should be better. We're not fishing today. Full moon, same thing. Big tides coming in and out. The fish might go off. In between that time, the tides are flat. So tides for fishing, I'll link that. If you are, and yeah, really tides is what I look at most of the time, when the time they are, especially fishing from shore. So I know where it's going, what it's doing, whether it's worth going to that spot or not. Bait, many different types of bait. You can use squid, school prawns, raw chicken. You can buy fish from the fish shop, slimy mackerel, yellowtail, bonito. Raw steak can be used as bait. There's a lot of different choices. So again, I'm not going to get into baits too much, because it will depend where you're going, the water quality, etc., etc. I think that covers it. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this video comes out okay to explain the rods, the setup, the casting, and yeah, and hopefully it helps some beginners get set up and actually learning how to tie a setup and how to cast. Casting will take practice. You won't get it first go. You have to feel how the rod casts. Give it a couple of goes until you can get a good fling. Son of a bitch. You big boy. You very big boy. Yeah, look at the size of you. Oh, it's alright. Brim's fish. Oh, a huge brim. Must be just sitting out there. Come on, fuck yeah. Can't see them. Gosh. Fish. Sure now, good. Oh, we got nice big brim. Very. Ay, 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 ay. Big brim. Big brim. Big brim. Brim, 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 brim. You're going to come up here, are you? Come on. Oh, you're a big boy. It's a nice sized one. Otherwise, yeah, that's great it. Thanks for watching.